千里之行，始于足下。A journey of 1,000 miles begins beneath the feet. We now gather in the Tao to travel the journey together.
The wide open ocean. When you emulate the ocean, we've talked about the ocean being low at the lowest point, which is why rivers flow into it. So that means humble, that means being humble. So when you're the ocean, when you emulate the ocean, you are humble, you are able to appreciate everyone. You are able to accommodate thoughts and ideas different from your own. Whatever stream or river may be flowing into the vastness of the ocean, it's all right. You don't need to agree with everything, but you don't need to condemn. So the ideal in the Tao is to never discriminate against anyone on any basis. And I think everyone, especially today in the West, we're all very familiar with what discrimination can look like. It may be based on social class, gender, faith, skin color, all kinds of different criteria. So the Tao, the ideal in the Tao is to never discriminate for any reason, like the water accepting every drop of water, like the ocean accepting every drop of water. As you look around in your life, as you think about the great leaders that you have known, I think you will easily see that a great leader already knows all this intuitively. The great leader is someone who leads, serves, and needs everyone. Nobody is excluded. The great leader taps into everyone's uniqueness. When I say uniqueness, that includes unique perspectives and unique abilities, unique experience. In a similar way, in a conflict situation, like an argument or debate, when you understand the vastness of the ocean, this whole concept, you need to understand also that everyone is part of your inclusive nature that keeps you from, quote unquote, crushing your opponents, even in victory. Because of your tolerance, you're able to know when to stop and reconcile. So there's and when we talk about reconciling with an opponent, this brings to mind that in Sun Tzu, The Art of War, I think many people already know that it is the highest achievement in a warrior to be able to turn them into allies, to be able to win without fighting. That is the highest degree of martial prowess, is to be able to win without fighting. This insight is not unique to Asia. There was once upon a time, in a speech that Abraham Lincoln delivered at the height of the Civil War, he referred to Southerners as fellow human beings who were simply making an error. An elderly lady chastised him for not calling them irreconcilable enemies who must be destroyed. She was insistent on this, that we must destroy our enemies. Lincoln responded, "Why, madam? Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends?" And indeed, Lincoln was right. When you make your enemies your friends, you have destroyed your enemies so thoroughly that not even a single trace remains. So this is how you get to being able to understand the vastness of the ocean and derive from that this whole idea of knowing when to stop. It all has to do with being accommodating and tolerant of differences. And let me lastly move on to the final point about the ocean, one that I feel is also quite important, and I call it Tao, the metaphysical ocean. So we know our physical selves come from the biological process of reproduction. I probably don't need to labor the point, but it's all about conception, birth, growth, maturity, all that good stuff. Everybody knows how the physical bodies come into being. Question, how about the spiritual self instead of the physical self? Where does that come from? And what if the spirituality is just an individual, unique point of consciousness that can be seen as being like a drop of water? So you, the true self that is you, suppose that it is like a drop of water. And suppose this drop of water that is you, metaphysical water that is you, you've decided to manifest in the material world, our world, this world, using your physical body as a vessel. And the purpose for you to do this is to refine yourself, is to be a better version of you. If so, then it makes sense to say that when your work is done in this lifetime, when you've learned your lessons, like the sun traveling abroad incognito, it will be the time to move on, which in the context of life and death means that you leave your body, your physical body, and return to the Tao, like water returning to the ocean. So the drop of water that is you, that came from the metaphysical ocean of the Tao, returns back to the Tao. So this is the final point about using ocean in the Tao. Let's return for a moment back to the autumn floods. That's because I want to summarize everything that we have just talked about. And I call it the 4 teachings of the ocean. Number 1, you are humble and therefore receive from all the rivers. The only point that I want to make here is that when we talk about receiving abundantly from all the rivers, that's just another way to describe how the rain of sweet dew comes down in your life. Goodness occurs. So number 1 is a reiteration of one of the points in the second slide of the 2 slides about holding on to the Tao. But like I said, those 2 points expand further into additional thoughts and ideas about the ocean. And the second point here is also the same. You are vast, tolerant, and therefore can accommodate all. As you have heard from the story, from Zhuangzi, from the sun, this is about the vastness of the ocean being tolerant, accommodating, compassionate. When you put number 1 and 2 together, you get number 3. Humility plus accommodation equal knowing when to stop in a contentious situation. And finally, number 4, the point that we have just talked about now, returning to the Tao, think of it as water returning to the ocean. its source and its true home. In the same way, for us to return to the Tao, the metaphysical ocean, is us returning to the true home.
Our meeting has come to an end, but the journey continues on. Let us travel safely. Until next time, may the Tao fill you with peace and happiness.